You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
And welcome to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. Sorry, we were laughing before we got on the air here. We were already having fun. This is episode number 1089. Do you sell or do you serve? In her latest book, Don't Sell, Let Them Buy.
Right.
Author Chiqeet Jameson teaches readers how to master an easy and proven step-by-step sales conversion process. Welcome to Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast.
Thank you, Richard. I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much.
I love having authors on the show. I think it takes a commitment to write a book.
Yeah, I'd say ask my husband.
Okay, right? Every writer's different, but
yes.
Every writer has to put a lot of energy into creating something that they can publish and that people will read.
Right, and the art is in the rewriting.
Yes.
Reading it and,
yes.
Oh my, why did I say that?
Right. And
do that again.
Right. And so, okay, we're jumping right into the writing process. For those of you, many I've talked to, I know a lot in our radio show listening audience believe they have a book in them.
Right. About 80% of people think that they want to write a book.
Right.
But very few percentage do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then get it published.
Right.
Right. So why did you write this book?
It's funny you say that. I wanted to write a book for a long time.
Okay.
My husband says, honey, you ought to put that down on paper.
Uh-oh.
And I got into a mastermind group, and I'm telling you, everybody should be. If you're in business, you should have a mastermind group. You should always be around people who know more than you do, can help you.
Yes.
And you know that because of what you do. CEO.
This was unscripted?
Yeah,
I didn't.
No.
This is
CEO
totally
peer
off.
groups.
I
I mean,
yes,
that's
right?
like a no-brainer.
I agree.
So they all said, you've got to do this. Because I would work, they'd ask me, well, tell me about, I'm stuck in this conversation. If a customer says to me, oh, just give me the price right at the beginning of the conversation, what do I do? Well, that's like a no-brainer for me.
Okay.
So I constantly would answer their questions, and they say, you got to put this on paper.
Right.
You got to do this. So I finally did. I took not quite a year, but I got it down.
Right.
And I'm so glad I did.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how people can shift from this mindset of selling to guiding.
Okay.
A lot of my audience are business owners, CEOs of middle market companies. Many of them who don't have a previous experience in sales don't enjoy that aspect of the business for a variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's unpleasant to them.
That's
they
their
feel
mindset.
They feel like they're selling.
That's their mindset. And see, that's where I was at the very beginning.
Okay.
I thought selling was taking a product or service that I was representing
Yes.
and talking a customer into buying it.
Yes. Influencing.
Well,
them.
that's wrong.
Is it?
You know Bob Berg,
I
the
do.
Go-Giver.
Okay.
The Go-Giver.
Yes.
Oh, my God. He's just got a new book out called The Influencer. Everybody needs to get it. But
Okay.
Bob Berg and John David Mann talk about what selling is. It's really, the word means serving,
Oh, wow.
believe it or not. And I was thinking of it the wrong way. And until I changed my mindset and realized, well, for example, what people should do if they're afraid, you got to check in with yourself. Are you in a career that gives you joy? If you're not, get out of it. If you enjoy what you're doing and you believe in your product and service, then you need to become a product expert. If you're not, you cannot earn the right to be in front of a customer.
Right.
But the difference is that when you guide somebody, you know your product and service, you believe in it, and you have something to give to somebody that helps them have a better way of life. And that was the mind shift for me. If you want to do that, then it becomes fun.
Okay. And when you say guide customers to make their own successful decisions, that's not manipulating them.
No, it's a structure.
Okay.
Can you think, Richard, of anything in life that does not have a structure? You're holding, what is this thing?
A pen.
That thing didn't just materialize.
No, yes.
Somebody designed it.
Yes.
Somebody created it. So if you go into your car, you got to open the door, you turn, you sit down, you turn, you put the key, you push the button, whatever the heck your car is, right?
Right.
The point is there's a structure
Okay.
that you follow, and it's repeatable. Why? And this is what took me years to learn. Oh my gosh, I was a slow learner. The point is your sales conversation is no different.
Okay.
It's a structure, and that's what I teach people from small business teams to large business teams to entrepreneurs.
Okay, Chiqueet Jameson. So if it is a guided, structured, how do you keep it fresh and in the moment so that you're actually genuinely responding to a prospect?
That's such a good question. Because when you know where you're going and you know why you're doing it, which is to help somebody have a better way of life, it naturally becomes organic because you know what to say, you know when to say it, and if a customer throws you off, you know right how to get right back on target. Because the structure gives you a sense of confidence. Because you are, not a sense. It gives you confidence.
Okay.
You're organized.
Right.
And you're calm. And when you're calm and relaxed, you can have a conversation.
'Cause
It's so simple.
Right. Okay. Because I think some non-sales people and even salespeople who maybe get in a funk feel like they are manipulating the prospect to get what the
Then they don't believe,
salesperson wants.
Richard, they don't believe in what they're selling.
Okay.
They don't believe what they're doing is going to help that client or that
Okay.
potential customer have a better way of life.
And do they in your book and in your research and the coaching that you do these people believe it because they genuinely care about the prospect, or do they have this blind vision that what they're selling and representing is so great that everybody should have it regardless of the true need of the person? Do you see the finer point I'm asking you for?
I see what you're saying, and that's the difference between this. When you approach, if you're a salesperson and you approach the world with your hands clenched in a fist,
Yes.
then
Seems aggressive.
it's all me, me, me. Yeah, and it's all me, me, me. You can't when you let go and you begin focusing on the other person and you give, then a couple of things happen. Number one, you have to realize that everything, what you represent may not be right for everybody. Right?
All right. Yeah. Nothing is right for everyone.
Right. But when you have that and you understand that and you ask the right questions, that's a whole other thing we'll talk about. But when you ask the right questions and you find out the answers all lead to what you have to offer, it's such a no-brainer and it's so logical that the customer sees, you know what, I need that. You don't convince them. They convince themselves.
Okay. So I had a career before I owned Critical Mass for Business, many years in sales and technical sales. I always felt that I was successful because I approached it as a problem solver. Like I really wanted to understand what the problem was, and if I had a thing that could fit it and a solution, then we ought to work together. And if I didn't, I shouldn't force my solution on you.
Right.
Is that in your world of working with
Totally.
salespeople? Solving problems?
Oh, it is solving problems. Yeah, but it's the way. First of all, it's you have to approach it from the idea that you have something that you believe in.
Okay.
That is right for a certain percentage of people, business owners,
Right.
or whatever it is you're selling. Okay,
Right.
and if you believe in it, it's the strategy comes in the questions that you ask.
Okay.
Never ask questions, and I'm sure you did this. Never ask questions where the answers don't lead to your product or service. If they don't ask them. It's just basic.
Right.
And it's also the point of that you are a problem solver.
Right.
But the way you ask the questions should draw out whether their problem is something you can solve.
Okay.
And if you can't, admit it and move on.
Is this a part of the process
Yeah.
that you talk about then?
Sure do.
Is using questions to...
Oh, yeah, that's a huge part. Where people go crazy is that they begin, okay, I had 6 weeks of training, sales training, when I first started. And I was in telephone sales.
Uh-oh.
And I got back and I was ready. And on Monday, that day after training, I was there and I was ready to go. And I started my first call and all heck it just went all crazy. I forgot everything I was trained. I spent 3 months in the bathroom crying. I took everything personal and I didn't remember anything I was taught. What the heck was I thinking? I was a mediocre rep. And it wasn't until years later that I realized it's my fault. I didn't follow the process.
Wow.
And I didn't invent anything. My book, I didn't invent anything. What basically happened is that I followed what Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, and Tom Hopkins, who I love, they created the steps of the sale. But
Right.
what I did is I innovated it.
Okay.
And I brought it up to par, up to where we are now today, and anybody. I can't figure out any industry that can't use it.
There you go. So there you go. The belief that your solution fits a big audience.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
And so the audience that's listening to this show are, as I said, CEOs and business owners of middle market companies across North America. Are you in any special industry? Do you work across different industries? Is your sales training kind of appropriate for regardless the type of product or service that people are offering?
I have not. I'm still looking, but
Okay.
I haven't found something that it doesn't fit yet. Now,
Okay.
the cycle may be shorter,
All right.
but it seems to fit everybody.
So when you come in, it sounds like you train sales
I
organizers?
do. I work their tails off, and we have so much fun because I used to be an actress.
Really?
So the way I train, I work, and the way to make this structure work, these 9 steps, is you learn it over and over and over, and you work with somebody, and you strategically work with whatever their product or service is, and with their commitment.
So these 9 steps are universal regardless of the product or service?
Yep.
Some of them may be
You
shorter in
start
length?
with gratitude, and you end with gratitude.
Okay. So there's 2 of the 9.
Well, it's actually first is assume. Do you like to be controlled?
Personally?
Yeah.
No.
No, nobody does. That's
Right.
why my first step is assume the lead. Somebody has to take the lead. Why not you?
Okay.
And so,
Makes a lot of sense.
and then you end with showing gratitude.
Okay.
But the first step in the very first beginning, for example, just to give you a quick, I'll give the listeners a little tidbit
Yeah, please
if
do.
you have a minute.
If you don't mind.
Okay, here's the first step. I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, let's say we have a scheduled
Yes,
appointment.
yes.
Okay, and I'm the rep. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, Richard, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. I just really appreciate the time that you're giving me. That's number 1. I do
Okay.
things in 3s.
Okay.
So the first step of assume the lead is number 1, express gratitude.
Okay.
Which I just did.
Yes.
The second one is to acknowledge your time. I know that you are busier than a one-arm paper hanger. I'm from the Midwest.
Yes, right.
So I say things.
Yeah, I
weird.
like that.
I know
Folksy.
you're busier than a one-arm paper hanger. So what I'm going to do, and then third, is to set an agenda. What I'm going to do is I'm going to visit with you for a few minutes and ask you some questions so I can better find out about your situation, what we talked about on the phone. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what I do, my company, why people choose to do business with us instead of going with someone else.
Okay.
And then I'm going to present, if it makes sense, I'm going to share with you some recommendations and let you consider those. And if at that point you feel that you want to move on, we'll move on and we'll take the next step. Will that work for you?
Yes, it will.
Okay. You just went through the first step.
Right.
It's simple. And what happened is I expressed gratitude to the customer.
Right.
I am shown as that I'm respectful of their time. They know that I'm the thing that will leave because there's an agenda.
Right.
Okay, I'm not the thing that's never going to leave.
Right.
And there's no commitment. If you think about it, I'm not forcing them to make a commitment.
Right. So that kind of lowers their natural defense,
That's
right?
right.
Because in a selling situation, the buyer, the prospect, there's always a little bit of tension there.
And this gets rid of it.
Right.
It's okay. We're just going to visit.
Right.
No big deal.
Right.
And
You'll decide if we'll
yeah,
take the next
you
step.
do it.
Right.
And the reason why you do that is maybe you're in the middle and you find out I can't help this person.
Right.
Or I don't want to help this person.
Because not every prospect's a good client, right?
Right. You need to know when to walk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, that's the first step, and it
Wow.
goes all the way around.
And there are
So
9 of those?
There are 9.
And each one has 3 steps, sub-steps? Or,
yeah, kinda, sorta.
Okay. But that's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
easy,
yeah,
that's any more than 3, you forget them. But 3
Yeah,
little
no,
pigs,
people
3 brown.
can't,
Right, you got 3. All right, this is awesome. So What advice would you give to that 80% of people who think they have a book in them about the actual ability to write a book? I mean, if you could give any piece of advice that's kind of that, based on your experience or what you now know, having put pen to paper, what would it be?
Or keystroke to computer,
probably
laptop.
a little dated there, huh?
I would say if you're interested in writing, then the first thing to do is take it in small chunks. Sit down. What's your story? What are you going to say to people? What is it that somebody would sit down and read? And then structure it. I'm the structure girl.
Right.
So you put it in an outline, and then you just bite off, little pieces. But don't feel you have to do the whole thing all at once.
Right.
No.
I've written 3 books. My 3rd book just came out last week.
Congratulations, I know.
Killing Cats Leads the Rats, about unintended consequences in business. But what I found personally and from talking to other authors is many times people think they have all this content, but when they actually make the commitment to put it down, they realize they don't have 30,000 words. And if they have 30,000 words, they're not the right 30,000 words that are going to be the book. So don't get disappointed when you put all your initial energy into it. That's not the finished product. That's really just the starting line, isn't it?
Right. Exactly.
I don't know how you do
exactly.
it. A lot of times it sounds like you just thought about what it is you do and you were able to articulate it in writing.
Well, to me, and in my book, I talk like I'm talking to one person. I'm talking to you, and I'm for example, one thing I said, which my husband laughed at. I said, "So you didn't prep, and now you're sitting 10 minutes before you get to the customer, and you're doing the dashboard prep. How's that working for you? Right. What are you thinking?"
Right.
And I write that way.
You do.
It's fun, and I'm just
Tough
literally when we're done here, I'm going over to finish the audio book. I've got one more chapter, and it'll be on audio on Amazon.
So you decided to read the book yourself?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And how did you decide that? Because I hired somebody to do it because just tell me.
Well, I'm an
why.
actress. I had that background.
So
I'm not anymore, God forbid. No, but I thought, you know what? And plus, it's my voice. And I say things like, "Oh, he don't know straight up from Sikkim." I say crazy things in my books. So who's going to say that?
Right. So you say it with the authenticity of the author, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who would you recommend reads this book? Clearly, salespeople should read this book. But would you recommend a CEO who's not?
Absolutely, because I think a lot of times our C-level people, and I love you, but sometimes you're so disconnected from what's really going on down in your sales ranks, you're not clear.
Right.
And I cannot tell you how many times I've been in front of C-levels, and I've said, "We've got it. We have to." I highly recommend you let me come in and work with your people. Oh, we don't need that.
Right. Yeah. We're good, thank you.
Yeah, we're good.
So when you engage with a middle market company in their sales force, when do they start seeing evidence of results and change of behavior? And
Immediately.
Immediately, if not sooner?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you're going to see a mind shift in the people.
That's what it takes.
They're so excited.
Okay.
They've got energized, and again, they've got the structure. They know what to do.
Do you find that your trainees, the people who read your book, take your courses, take what you've taught them, and begin to personalize it a little bit as well?
Oh, yeah.
Is
You
there
want them to, it's
flexibility?
got to be to them.
Okay.
It has to be to their personality. What I've given is the outline for them to follow.
Right.
They've forgotten that, or they were never taught that.
Okay.
Especially a lot of the young people in the tech tech markets.
Yeah, high technology.
They give them a script and they expect them to know, and they become disillusioned, and it's like a swinging door.
But I find with Gen X millennials, they like to be mentored and coached. So I would think this
Count me in.
Right, this type of training would be they would value the fact that the employer is doing it for them.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like when you go somewhere for the first time, it's nice to either have the GPS loaded or a map. I mean, after you've been there a couple times, then you improvise.
Right.
But in the beginning, having a 9-step process would take some of the uncertainty out of how this is going to go.
And it's all adapted to them.
Right.
It's not this, "Oh, you must read it like this."
Right. Yeah.
No, we work on it.
Right.
But the real critical part too that a lot of people don't know how to do, and that is, how do you answer an objection?
Yeah, get defensive.
Oh my God, yeah, and you never answer. Here's one last one.
Uh-oh.
Never.
Getting all kinds of nuggets here.
Yeah, never, ever should you answer an objection at anywhere until after you've given your recommendation. Period.
Really?
You don't have enough information to answer it. And if somebody keeps giving you an objection, you got to stop and think, why are they doing that?
Right.
Their frame of mind is off.
Okay.
How do you have a meaningful conversation if their head's not there?
Okay.
So you need to stop the conversation and find out what's going on.
How do you do that?
Richard, it seems to me that there's something bothering you. Is there?
You get into character really fast. This is awesome.
But the point, and that's what I do with my oh my gosh.
Right,
I just
you're
gave a
present.
workshop last week, and I put them on a hot seat. We
Okay.
had them at the front of the room, and we had them role playing, and you learn just as much as you do in the customer as you do in the rep.
I so believe that. Salespeople used to chafe at the idea of role playing, and I said, I know you're going to, whatever you say here, you're going to say out there. So say it now.
And you're going to remember it because
Right.
sweat is coming down your back, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, Mom, my
Right.
peers are watching me.
Yeah, I just went to the Angels games last night. They spent several weeks in spring training preparing to come and do what they've been doing all their life because they know they need the practice.
That's
That's
right.
what role playing is, right?
That's right.
Take some
That's
practice.
right.
Before you get live fire out there in the marketplace, do it in the safety of your own company.
Absolutely.
With someone like you who can pick up the pitching coach.
Well,
and
didn't you do
fix 'em.
that? Didn't you role play and didn't you
Yes.
practice and
Yes.
rehearse? How'd you get to be so good at what you do?
I was lucky.
No, you rehearsed,
Yes, I did.
and it's no
Yeah.
different. You rehearse.
Yes. Well, this has been just awesome. So I can't stop the interview, Chiquita, without saying, how does someone find your book?
Oh, Amazon. You can go to Amazon. Don't sell, let them buy. And there's no U in my name. It's Chiquita with Qeeta.
Yes, thank you.
No
Thank
U,
you.
please.
And
I'm
Jameson?
yeah.
How do you spell
like
your
the
last name?
whiskey. Jameson.
Nice.
Chiquita, like misspelled like the banana. And the other thing, you can go to my website, ChiqueetaJameson.com. What else did you? Oh, my book. You can go through there and.
And the audio book will be
Oh,
Audible?
that'll come in. Yeah, that's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to load that in.
Right, that takes a little bit of time.
Right.
Okay. Well, this has
Yeah.
been just totally enjoyable.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
No, I loved it. I think
My
you-
goal is to help as many people in sales
Okay.
and to help as many entrepreneurs and C-level managers. Your people need help, guys. I'm here to help,
Right, I take that.
and
That's
I
awesome.
want to give back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a friend of the program, and welcome to the Critical Mass community, Chiquita
Thank
Jameson.
you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that's going to end this segment of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I need to thank our engineer, none other than Paul Roberts, our producers, without whom we wouldn't have a show, Joan Park, Crystal Nunley, and Haley Stern. Thank you, ladies. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, the easiest way is go to LinkedIn, Richard Franzi, Franzi, Richard Franzi. We can start our conversations with LinkedIn, and then we can move in other directions, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the website, the blog, and the rest of the things that we do. So until our next show, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.
You have been listening to Critical Mass Radio Show Business Talk Show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.